Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for high-level traders to learn valuable trends and strategies, connect with other top traders, and become consistently profitable. Click the link in the description of this video to receive a special offer on our revolutionary PS60 training, access to our daily chat room filled with experienced traders, and so much more. Space is limited, so make sure you don't miss out. We look forward to seeing you in the room.
Hey guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com weekend update show. Hope everybody is doing okay. Rainy, ugly day today. Thanks for the most part to Tropical Storm. I believe his name is Gordon, right? Gordon. So thank you very much, Gordon. The good news is today, and if you're like me, it's like almost like Christmas. Today is the official start of the NFL kickoff weekend, NFL kickoff season. Super pumped up. It's the one day a year that I'm literally on the couch from kickoff till literally the end of Sunday Night Football. The only curveball is my wife informed me my son has a soccer game today at 3 o'clock, but because of the rain, hopefully that gets canceled. So hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. Hopefully you're enjoying your life, because again, at the end of the day, trading is just like anything else, right? Just like anything else, any other occupation you have, you do your job, you hopefully do it well, right? You go home, you lay down, you love you hug your loved ones, you living your life, and again, rinse, repeat the next week. So let's talk about the markets, right? A lot of developments for all you guys who are joining us for the first time via either Facebook, Twitter, our friends at StockTwits, or Twitter, or anything anywhere in between. We do this broadcast. We do this broadcast on the weekends for the general public. It goes out obviously to our webinar attendees Monday through Thursday. So if you are enjoying it, thank you very much for the support. So let's talk about the market. So since last week, right? For all you guys who joined us last week, we've been primarily sell biased based on individual merit, right? Based on individual merit. And again, the new dynamics of the market have so significantly changed, right? So significantly changed. So when you're looking for kind of direction, right? And at least looking for some sort of guidance or some sort of potential bias, you always have to look, at least start to look of price action, right? You start looking at price action, and, again, as much as I always talk about the indexes kind of don't matter anymore, which they don't, okay, which they absolutely don't. They will at least give you some clue, right? They'll give you some sort of clue, some sort of potential. And, we always talk about potential roundabout tops, and we started seeing that 5 days ago. So here's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. So we talked about this area here. And again, until the market, and again, the market indexes, the ETFs, whatever individual equity you're trading, until it breaks the 5-day moving average. And again, if you've been joining us for a very long time, you know how important, at least for me, how the 5-day moving average is, at least for me. It really does give you short-term guidance. And we talked about it's not a problem until the NASDAQ 100 closes underneath the 5-day. And we started seeing notable weakness, in shares that were running up very, very aggressively, right? So in the beginning of the week, we started seeing Amazon crack, and again, we talked about this. This has turned out to be a pretty good trade in the middle of the week on Amazon. But you started seeing Amazon kind of mirror the NASDAQ 100, stop going up. You saw Google. Way before Amazon, again, closed below that 5-day moving average. Again, you can see the similarities. At first close below the 5-day moving average usually starts a series of events to the other side of the market, right? To the other side of sentiment. You started seeing that with Google. Netflix, again, just couldn't really get out of its own way for a very, very long time. It had that big run up, and then the first time, again, it lost, right? Similarities. It lost the 5-day moving average, lost the 50. Obviously, that's confirmation. Started going lower as well. Even the video, right? Even the video, again, same thing. First close, right? First close under the 5-day moving average, started another series of unfortunate events. If you didn't look at the data that was in front of you, and then you had obviously the concerns of Tesla, right? The concerns of Tesla. And if you've been watching this broadcast, right? If you've been watching this weekend update for a good amount of time now, I have zero bias. I have zero bias in the stock. When the stock confirms to the upside, I trade it to the upside. When the stock confirms to the downside, I trade the downside. But once you start seeing a lot of headlines and the stock just doesn't react into that direction, obviously something's brewing, right? Obviously something's brewing, something is not looking the right way. And if you don't, and this is the most dangerous part of trading, if you don't listen to what the market's telling you, you're going to get destroyed. It's not as simple of, well, I'm going to lose a little bit of money. You're going to get destroyed. And obviously the whole drama started with the whole, we're considering taking this company private at 420. Again, the whole 420 reference, the whole pot reference, right? Isn't it ironic how things kind of turn full circle, right, to Friday's developments? So you started seeing all that news, and then slowly but surely they couldn't provide, they just couldn't provide any tangible notification of funding secured. And the longer time went by and no headlines came out, and we talked about 2 weeks ago, no news is bad news. The longer it went until they couldn't provide any financial guidance of the secure funding is going to be bad for the company. And it started going lower and lower and lower until we started really paying attention, right? Really started paying attention. Again, first close under the 5-day moving average, right, guys? Everybody see that? This is where technical analysis is the greatest thing. And again, for all you new traders who believe that some random avatar in this day and age, okay, on social media, and again, unfortunately, when I started trading, there was no internet yet, right? Ironic how things turn full circle. So when I started trading, it was very, very important to get your guidance from people who sat in the same room with you. And again, for all you guys who don't know, I was incredibly fortunate to be one of the first 10, 15 traders at generic trading around 99 in the new, in the temporary spaces before they moved to 1270 Avenue Americas. And I sat with some phenomenal traders. I mean, I sat some phenomenal traders. I really had no idea what the hell was going on, but I learned from them. I picked up little tidbits, not exactly necessarily, well, this is how you trade, because nobody really knew how to trade, especially going forward towards the .com era. But you got little nuances. You picked up little tidbits here and there of things that subconsciously were going to really have a tremendous influence on you years later, again, if you survive. And the most important part was that, to have your eyes wide open, right, your ears wide open, and again, just don't shoot yourself in the foot until you really pick up this game. And slowly but surely, technical analysis years later became such a big part. But the guidance that I got, when I first started, again, subconsciously really helped me get to the point that I actually could take advantage of what the market was going to give me technically. And again, you could see this, right, with Tesla. First close under the 5-day moving average, started a really aggressive, unfortunate events for shareholders because, again, obviously 420 was out the window. Obviously, there was no secure funding. Obviously, there was something wrong. And then you started seeing headlines slowly but surely start to unravel. And this is where technical analysis, again, is your best friend. Again, if you're a new trader and you're looking for guidance for some random car avatar on Twitter, right? Some guy, some really 22-year-old kid teaching the 19-year-old kids how to make small money. I mean, that's what your reality is. But again, if you believe in self-guidance, if you believe in self-sufficiency, technical analysis is your best friend. And here's a perfect example how technical analysis really spoke incredibly loud. First close underneath the 5-day moving average, the confirmation below that 307. Again, if you watched last week's video, you kind of saw, we started getting short below that 307 area, and really good series of events started unfolding. And once you started seeing confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, that video that came out with Joe Rogan was just literally it was a cherry on top. But again, I think the more important part of the whole Tesla fiasco is the headlines that came out Friday morning. Nobody believes that the stock went down 10% on Friday because of Elon Musk smoking pot on Joe Rogan podcast. Look at the headlines. I mean, look at the headlines. The chief accounting officer, right? He was there for like 30 seconds, right? He's gone. The woman who was one of the departments, I think it was HR or something, after her maternity leave, she turned around and said, yeah, I'm good. I'm not coming back. Again, all these different things. Everybody, and again, I have zero bias on Tesla, but you have to look at the events, right? You have to look at the events. Again, a lot of burned bridges with Wall Street. Everybody knows they need money, right? Everybody knows they need money. The erratic behavior of Elon Musk, it's just ridiculous. And again, the debt is tremendous. Everybody knows that as well. And again, I've never made this comment, but it would really be shocking. I would really be shocking if 2 years from now we're talking about Tesla as a viable publicly traded company. There's so many signs out there that are just so alarming unless they can really reconfigure. And again, some news came out about reorganization on Friday after close. But unless they really come out with some groundbreaking, again, the sales are impressive. I get that part, right? That's all great. That's all cool. I got that part, right? They're going to blow it. I get all that part. Again, I don't care. I sell the stock. I buy the stock. I don't care. So, again, trying to have an argument with me about the fundamentals of Tesla are irrelevant. I love the car. I love Elon Musk. It's a gorgeous vehicle. But again, I love trading the stock a little more than all that involved. And again, if you look at the series events, if you collect the data, and again, we spoke about collecting data, supply zones, how important the 5-day moving average on the PS60 workshop, that in nausea we see it play out, in nausea gathering those data points. We see it play out every single day live. And the most important part going into this week, is what is Tesla going to do, right? Or what is Tesla going to do to kind of stabilize, right? Not necessarily even the stock price, but what are they going to do to stabilize investors, peace of mind? It's going to be very, very important. If you look at the indexes again, series events started taking place last week. We closed on the 5-day moving average. The NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ composite tumbled over 2.5%. It was a big, big move. You saw that with all the leaders, Amazon, Apple. Apple even got even a little bit more pressure on some of those comments after the close, those tariff concerns after the close. So you started seeing the NASDAQ 100. Again, this is a very, very viable measured potential for the NASDAQ 100 to go this week. Again, charts don't lie, guys. Again, if you believe in the theory that stocks trade from supply to supply and demand to demand, well, again, you can see it visually where the NASDAQ 100 should land, right? We should have a soft landing, at least for now, a soft landing at the 50-day moving average. That is where my bias is going into this trading week, at least in the beginning of the week. And again, we could see this on Monday. We could see this test on Monday. Again, you could see it. You could see it on the charts, right? You could see it on the charts. Again, it's magnets. It's like magnets. Again, stocks don't start. They don't just stop randomly. They're magnets to the next support or supply. So here's an area that went right to the 50. Here's an area went right to the 50. Again, it's going to hit the 50-day moving average. And again, is it Armageddon? No. But again, we're going to see what happens now that everybody is back from vacation, right? From summer vacation, all the quant models, all the hedge fund managers, the pension fund managers, so forth and so on. We're going to see the true market. But again, at least the start, right? At least the start of the trading week. I am sell biased. A lot of the NASDAQ 100 names look like they have more downside to go, and I do expect the NASDAQ 100 to hit the 50-day moving average in the next couple of days, if not on Monday. So let's talk about, again, how important is technical analysis. So here's something, and again, for all you guys, there's a huge misconception, right? I get these emails all the time, and they said is the PS60 theory only good for high beta names? Look, I trade high beta because high beta, and for all you guys who are watching this the first time at home, high beta for me, right, are stocks that putting in the biggest amount of range, right? The biggest amount of range. The Teslas, these Amazons, the Googles, the Netflix, the Alibabas, right? The Squares, the Rokus, all stuff like that, right? I trade them because that's my comfort zone. I trade them every day, not every single one of them, but at least one or two or three of them every single day. Because again, I understand the tendencies. I understand that most retail is not represented in those stocks. I understand that natural order flow is very, very important, right? Incredibly important to the organic moves and their movements, right? Their predicted measured potential is kind of predictable, right? It's kind of predictable. If all you guys follow me on StockTwits and Twitter, you see this. There's no trick photography here. Once a pivot is confirmed, there's a very, very high probability that it's going to move from supply to supply, demand to demand. So when I get these emails and they ask me, well, Dan, I don't have a huge account. Can I still trade the theory? Absolutely, you can. Again, it's not the point of trading Tesla that makes the process great. It's trading the process that makes the process great. And as long as there is range in any stock, right? You could be a $3 stock, it could be a $30 stock, a $300 stock, a $2,000 stock, okay? Trade when you feel comfortable. As long as there's a technical range that is confirmed from supply to demand, you can use the process. So here's a perfect example. Domo was my first trade on Friday, right? Domo was my first trade on Friday. And again, prior to pre-market, and again, this has nothing to do with Tesla. This has nothing to do with Amazon and Netflix. And again, Domo, 2450 build important. Now, why was 2450 build important, right? So why was 2450 build important? So here's the 60-minute, right? The 60-minute, the highest candle pre-market. And again, there's so many moving parts, but this one was just a clear one because there was no supply. There was no supply in between. So here's the highest point of supply, right? It went through supply. Here's supply right here. It went through supply, put in a high of 2445. And I said, hey, if this thing starts building above 2450, right? It should go. Well, here's 2450 and went to 27. Again, this has nothing to do, right? Nothing to do with high beta. So it's very, very important to understand that. Here's a trade that I put in the room in the middle of the week, right? ARWR, ARWR, and I think I even tweeted about it. At some point the previous day. Yeah, here's a perfect example, right? Here's a perfect example. Again, has nothing to do, right? Has nothing to do with beta. ARWR 1980 has been support on the 60-minute channel, right? This has nothing to do with Tesla. It's not a $200 stock, not an $800 stock. It's a $19 stock. If it builds below, it can flush. So you have ARWR, right? ARWR. Here was the 1980, right? Excuse me. Here was the 1980 right here. 1980 is low here. 1985 is low here. And once it broke 1980, you could see the flush happen here. So again, to answer everybody's question, because again, a lot of new traders, they're hesitant to try the process because they believe it's only trading Amazon. No, it's absolutely not. Any range that could get confirmed, and as long as there's room for a trade, then you can successfully trade the process. Very, very important. So let's talk about supply and demand very, very quickly, right? Let's talk about supply and demand and talk about no bias. So I think one of the better trades on Friday, was this Tesla trade, okay? Was this Tesla trade here. And on the nearly 4-hour PS60 workshop that we covered, half of that time, it's very, very important that we broke down how important supply and demand zones are to understand where a stock could potentially get rejected. Now, again, it's not a brick wall, okay? It's not a brick wall. It's potential area where a stock should get at least rejected. And again, we broke this down for about 2 hours out of the 4 in the workshop. And supplies, right? Supplies, which most traders don't even know it exists. Supply zones are areas of emotional buyers, right? So you had all these emotional buyers. If you look at the chart from the lows of Tesla, emotional buyers meeting technical sellers. The technical sellers are all at supply, and the emotional buyers are screaming it's going back to 300, right? It's all good. It might go to 300, it might not. Again, our job is not to predict the future. Our job is to collect data, use supply and demand to understand where all the bodies are laid, right? And use the process to our advantage. We're not hoping, we're not praying. Again, remember, like I said in the workshop, God doesn't care about your Tesla position. Trust me, there's kids born every single day in third world countries with malaria, tuberculosis, blind. God does not care about your Tesla positions, okay? So if you're sitting in your chair and you're trading the day, oh, God help me, God, no. Okay, technical analysis is going to help you. Your process is going to help you. Believe me when I tell you, God does not care about your Tesla position. And here was a perfect example of emotional buyers, right? Emotional buyers hitting technical sellers. And if you look at, look what my comments were, it's approaching supply, okay? 266.50, 267. That's the fine line in the sand, okay? So if it gets rejected, and we talked about this in the webinar, I know a lot of people really caught this trade very, very well. If it establishes a range, right? If it establishes a range, all we care about is that range. So it stopped that supply. And the next thing we talked about, right? This is it. 368, right? 368 is the upside, right? Upside build. 363 is the downside build. Okay, the rest of the day, everything else for us is completely irrelevant. Technical analysis, not why. Now, why is that the case, right? Why is that the case? Right? When you look at Tesla, Here's a 60-minute view, right? Here's the 60-minute view of Tesla, okay? So you could see this candle's high right here, right? 268, right? 268. This candle's low of 263. So now we need another candle to confirm it, right? So look what happened to the next candle. It took out that 363 area, started to build, and the stock put up a $3 candle very, very aggressively. For those of you who took the trade into supply, it gave you a $6.50 move. This is, I mean, again, $6.50 move on one candle is pretty aggressive. So congratulations for you guys who did catch that. Again, going into Monday's session, this is kind of where I want to start. The kind of the watch list for Monday. Going into tomorrow's session, okay, it's a very it's a very simplistic line to figure out where the aggression is going to come. Okay. So look. Again, we still know the top of this channel here is 268, right? Everybody see that, guys? 268 is the channel. You're going to see all the supply, all these supply zones, right? All these supply zones kind of shrinking down, right? They're going to start sloping down. So if these supply zones are lower than 268, and it starts building to 268, then yes, absolutely. Look how much room it has. It has room all the way up to 278. But there's two areas of interest to the downside. Again, remember, the headline's not going away. So you have all these reference points, right? All these reference points. So look at the low here, right? 263, 263.06, 263.25, right? 263.25, 263.30, 263.50, okay? So you know here, the line in the sand is 263, right? You know the line in the sand is 263. So again, 268 to the upside, 263 to the downside is your initial point of reference. And again, if you want to get very, very aggressive, right, if that obviously takes it out, then here's your next reference point, right? 260 is the low here, 260 is the low here. Again, this thing cracks 260, you know, it has potential all the way down to the next support zone at 254. So I definitely want to keep an eye. I definitely want to keep an eye on Tesla. Okay, obviously I trade Tesla every single day. Okay, I trade Tesla every single day, and this is a very, very clean line that we can watch for, again, no bias entry. So definitely keep an eye on that. So let's get into some other trades that I do like for going to this week. Look, do I love Boeing? No, I don't love Boeing. You know, we trade in the room here and there. There is a line here that I kind of like, right? There is a point of reference. If the market is strong, you can see these. You can see these areas of interest here. The top of the range here, it's gotten rejected 3 times at 350. Everybody see that, guys? Right? It got rejected 3 times at 350. If this thing starts building above that 350 area, right? Your first move is only to 351, but if it confirms that, and I think it will, you can see here when it went through. If it gets above and starts building 350, 351, you could see a move all the way back to 353. So keep an eye on that. Facebook, congratulations for all you guys, you know, who caught this trade in the middle of the week. You know, this was such a simplistic chart to actually trade. For all you guys who did catch it in the middle of the week, we talked about this 166.50 in nausea. I tweeted it out as joking around in the middle of the week. Mystery chart. If this thing breaks down, you know, well, anyway, 166.50 got completely hit. It stopped twice on the 160 level. 160 is going to be a pivot, right? 160 is going to be a daily pivot. Set an alert, right? Set an alert for yourself, whatever platform you're using. If this starts confirming below 160, it's going lower. So keep an eye on that. I like this Mitch. I kind of like this Mitch. Nice looking chart. I don't think I've ever traded this thing, but here's the supply. It keeps on getting rejected off supply. If it could just reclaim this like 53 area, you might have the next leg up. So keep an eye on that. A couple of smaller names that look interesting. Look at VLRS. Again, is this VRS for me? No, but again, I know a lot of people in the live webinar or on social media, they like to trade different type of stocks. Again, shows you an example that you don't need to trade beta, right? So VLRS, you can see it coming out of the channel, big volume on Friday, stop that supply. If it could just reclaim $8, you might get the next leg up. TTOO, again, another example of non-beta. It has nothing to do with it. Again, coming out of a range. If it can confirm the $7 area, first move to 720, and if you're swinging it, you could get a move all the way up to 783. And again, another example of that you don't need to trade beta, right? Here's another little stock, ENZ, is coming off of a bottom base, volume expansion. Again, if this is your thing, takes out $5. Hey, you have a trade right to 530, 540. Again, nothing to do with beta. So going into this week, sell biased until we test the 50-day moving average. After we hit the 50-day moving average in the NASDAQ 100, obviously we should get some sort of bounce, and obviously look for leaders that don't go down. Again, if you look at Amazon, this 35 obviously going forward is going to be a big number. Any close below 1935 will be a problem. Don't think it won't. And yes, I know it's going to go to $10,000 a share. I love the stock as well. I love the company as well. But hey, I traded in the middle of the week. And again, when you get a $5, $6, $7 candle in 3 minutes, you don't care what's going to happen 6 months from now. All we're looking to do is win our interval. That's it. So going into this week, guys, and again, I want to thank everybody. I'm very, very humbled for all you guys who have taken part in either the live PS60 workshop or have bought the PS60 workshop recording. Again, it's packed with almost 4 hours of incredible content, guys. Again, there's no trick here. Okay, I promise you, there's no tricks here. This isn't editing. This is supply and demand. That's all it is. And once it gets confirmed, it's a wonderful thing. So, guys, thank you very much for all your support. For all you guys who are on social media, have an awesome, awesome day. Kickoff, awesome. Have a phenomenal week of trading. If there's anybody who have any questions about anything that we do, feel free, email me. I'm very, very accessible, hence the name Access a Trader. So have a great week, everybody. Enjoy your day. Love life, smile, love somebody, and have an awesome, awesome life. Have a great day, guys. See you tomorrow.